To order, honorable members of City Council, on March 12, 2020, Governor Northam declared a state of emergency due to COVID-19. Because of the catastrophic nature of the declared emergency, it is impractical or unsafe to assemble a quorum of City Council in a single location. In accordance with Virginia Beach City Code 2-21 and Virginia Code 2.2-37082A3, and by authority invested as me as Mayor of Virginia Beach, I hereby call for a special meeting by electronic communication means of the Virginia Beach City Council, Thursday, May 14, 2020, 4 p.m. In accordance with Virginia Codes 2.2-37082A3, this special meeting by electronic communication means will be held virtually with City Council members participating via video audio conference. The purpose of this special meeting is for the City Council to consider an ordinance to approve expanded use of outdoor restaurant seating and to authorize the city manager to approve temporary outdoor dining permits, and an ordinance to suspend resort open-air cafe franchise fees and provide revenue offsets. Although I sent a similar letter yesterday, the ordinance regarding outdoor dining was subsequently revised, and so I am sending this revised letter with the revised ordinance. This special meeting will be broadcast on cable TV, www.vbgov.com, and Facebook Live. Citizens are encouraged to submit their comments to the City Council prior to the special meeting via email at citycouncil@vbgov.com. Sincerely, Bobby Dyer. Could we call for the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Abbott?
Present.
Councilmember Berlucci?
Present.
Councilmember Henley?
Present.
Councilmember Jones?
Present.
Councilmember Moss?
Present.
Councilmember Rouse?
Present.
Thank you. Councilmember Tower?
Present.
Councilmember Wilson?
Here.
Councilmember Wooten? She said she couldn't hear. Okay. Vice Mayor Wood?
Present.
Mayor Dyer?
Present.
10-0.
Okay, thank you.
She can't say her name.
I asked the city clerk to provide the structure, rules, and guidance, for this session.
Oh, maybe. Sorry. There. Sorry. Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of City Council. This is the City Clerk, Amanda Barnes. Today's meeting is being conducted electronically and is allowed as described by Mayor Dyer during his reading of the call for special session. Also, please note this meeting is being recorded. There are two ordinances for council consideration scheduled for this special session. Just as in past electronic meetings, the mayor will ask for a motion and a second, and then open the floor for discussion among the city council members. The city clerk will then recognize the city council members in the order which they raise their virtual hand. Once discussion is over and the vote is called, the city clerk will proceed with a roll call vote of the council members, and that vote will be recorded in the minutes. Mayor, members of council, are there any questions about the process? No one's raising their virtual hand, Mayor. I turn the meeting back over to you.
Okay, thank you, and I thank the council members for participating in this special session. Obviously, it's a very high priority to the restaurant industry. Ordinance number one to approve.
Mayor, may I just let you know, Ms. Wooten is now able to hear, and she is available she's participating in the meeting now.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, moving forward with ordinance number 1 to approve of expanded use of outdoor restaurant seating and to authorize the city manager to approve temporary dining permits. May I have a motion?
Vice Mayor Wood,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move approval of the ordinance, and I'll read it into the record. It's an ordinance to approve expanded use of outdoor restaurant seating and to authorize the city manager to approve temporary outdoor dining permits. Whereas by Executive Order Number 61, dated May 8th, 2020, the Governor of Virginia initiated Phase 1 of reopening restaurants from ordered closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas as part of the Phase 1, restaurants are permitted to reopen to the extent they only have seating in outdoor spaces with limited capacity and adequate spacing. Whereas the governor's executive orders have provided additional procedural and regulatory discretion to the Virginia Alcoholic Beverage Control Authority, and pursuant to such executive orders, the authority has issued guidance for outdoor dining in Topic 16, issued May 13th, 2020. And whereas the City Council desires to provide additional opportunities for Virginia Beach restaurants to serve patrons during Phase 1 and subsequent loosening of business restrictions as provided herein. Now therefore it be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Virginia Beach that 1, the City Council hereby approves the expanded use of outdoor restaurant seating, provided the facilities comply with the governor's executive orders, including but not limited to Executive Orders 61 and 62, and any subsequent orders and the rules promulgated by the Virginia Alcoholic Beverage Control Authority, including but not limited to Topic 16. 2, that the City Council hereby authorizes the city manager or his designee to issue temporary permits for use of public property for outdoor dining at restaurants during those phases of reopening, wherein the governor has limited indoor serving of patrons in restaurants. For purposes of this ordinance, the term restaurant shall mean an existing business with a business license to operate as a restaurant. The permitted area for outdoor dining shall be adjacent to or in close proximity to the restaurant. Any permit authorized by this ordinance shall require the permittee to comply with applicable public health, alcoholic beverage control, and public safety requirements, including but not limited to the requirements contained in the governor's executive orders pertaining to COVID-19 and related guidelines. Such permit shall be in the form of a revocable license and of similar legal effect as those encroachments authorized by Article 6 of Chapter 33 of the City Code. The permits may include any public property not otherwise necessary for safe and accessible pedestrian, bicycle, or vehicular traffic. The permit shall require the same indemnity and insurance provisions as those set forth in Section 33-113 D2 and D3 of the City Code. No fee shall be assessed for the processing of permit applications, and it is the desire of the City Council and the city staff prioritize and process applications promptly. The denial of such permit may be appealed to the city manager, and the denial by the city manager may be appealed to the City Council. 3, any authorization provided by this ordinance or permit issued pursuant to this ordinance shall automatically expire 30 days after the end of the statewide declaration of public health emergency unless sooner terminated. A permit may be revoked for the noncompliance with any requirement of this permit, and the continued occupancy of the city property after revocation may be remedied in the same manner as authorized for unlawful encroachments. So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor, do I have a second?
Councilmember Wilson.
Yes, I second this, and I just want to compliment the council for acting so quickly on this so that we can get our restaurants to expand and be open for business the best that they can do, and to give them the flexibility that they can have. And that with the holiday on the meals tax, we're hoping that people will get out and support these businesses.
We have a motion and a second. We are open for council discussion.
Councilmember Tower, did you have discussion?
Yes, I do. Just I wanted to add a second. Councilwoman Wilson's comments. This is the best news the restaurant industry has had in 2 months. Very excited about it. I know a lot of folks are going to take advantage of it. And I just want to urge anybody that's listening to take advantage of the new facilities that they will have to serve us and our visitors. Um, it's a great idea. Staff and volunteers and industry association reps, everybody's been working hard on this, and hats off to everybody. Hope this is the beginning of our real recovery efforts in that industry. Needs it, deserves it. Thank you very much.
Any further Councilmember Mr. Berlucci, would you have comments?
Well, yes, I do. Thank you. And I just want to just applaud city management as well as members of this council for bringing this ordinance forward. I certainly support it. And it is great news for the restaurant industry. And I look forward to discovering more about the impacts that it will have. But however, I'd like to use this opportunity to raise another issue that I think is deserving of some attention. And that is that the city administration is confiscating signs. They're taking down signs, enforcing code enforcement from restaurants and other businesses during this time of a global pandemic and emergency. And while I understand the importance of code enforcement, and I also understand the importance of having a clean and beautiful city and following the law and following the rules, it's deeply concerning to me that there are many businesses, particularly restaurants in Virginia Beach, that are hanging on by a thread. And on one hand, we're meeting today to talk about opportunities to help them. And then on the other hand, we're pushing them down by denying them opportunities to reach customers and to expand their business opportunities. And I just have an issue with it. And further, I don't think it's the best use of city staff during this crisis. And is this our top priority? Is it even rank among our top priorities? So I just, I've discussed this matter with Mr. Stiles as well as Mr. Williams, and I understand that it opens a Pandora's box legally, and it is related to some free speech issues and as well as code enforcement. But these businesses, restaurants and otherwise, need some room to breathe. And as long as we're in an emergency situation, I just don't think that it's the best use of city staff's time to be enforcing these signs, confiscating signs, and impacting businesses negatively. I think we need to be more permissive, more flexible, and more responsive. And so I would appreciate the city manager and the team at the city considering that. And we could discuss the possibility of bringing an ordinance forward that would provide some more flexibility as long as the emergency situation is in play. But I do think it's something that's worthy of attention, and the businesses, small business in Virginia Beach, need a little room to breathe. They're barely hanging on by a thread, and it's our responsibility to support them. Thank you.
Councilmember Abbott?
Yeah, thank you. I was not going to say anything about the ordinance on the table, but I, of course, am excited to vote in support of it. But I did want to piggyback on what Michael said. I've been in conversations with various staff members at the planning level on this issue as well. And I was under the impression that we were going to do our best to, be loosely enforcing the sign rules, but I'd like to just take this opportunity and empathize with what Councilman Berlucci is saying, and also with respect to council and our planning department. I think that ordinance needs a serious look at indefinitely. I don't think it's a fair ordinance for any business to have such strict limitations on the signage they're allowed to use. So I look forward to potentially working on that future resolution with Councilman Berlucci, and hopefully we can have a staff briefing in greater detail, see what we can do to loosen the burden, so to speak, on our small businesses.
There are no other council members with their virtual hand raised.
Okay, at this point, could we call for the vote?
Councilmember Abbott?
Aye.
Councilmember Berlucci,
Aye.
Councilmember Henley,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Moss,
Aye.
Councilmember Rouse,
Aye.
Councilmember Tower,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson,
Aye.
Councilmember Wooten,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wood,
Aye.
Mayor Dyer.
Aye.
By a vote of 11 to 0, you've approved the ordinance as read by Vice Mayor Wood.
Okay, thank you all very much for that. Moving on to ordinance number 2, to suspend resort open air cafe franchise fees and provide revenue offsets. May I have a motion?
Vice Mayor Wood,
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of an ordinance, and I'll read it into the record. An ordinance to suspend resort open-air cafe franchise fees and to provide revenue offsets. Whereas by Executive Order Number 61 dated May 8th, 2020, the Governor of Virginia initiated Phase 1 of reopening restaurants from ordered closures due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas as part of Phase 1, restaurants are permitted to reopen to the extent they only have seating in outdoor spaces with limited capacity and adequate spacing. Whereas at the same meeting as this item is presented, the City Council is considering a program to provide temporary permits for outdoor dining throughout the city, and that program does not include a fee. And whereas to allow all outdoor dining in the city to operate without a fee, the council desires to suspend fees associated with outdoor cafe franchises at the resort area. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, that the City Council hereby suspends for calendar year 2020 only the fees for resort open air cafe franchises and to provide revenue offsets. The 2020 reserve for future use in the tourism investment program is reduced by $304,864. So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, and we have a second.
Councilmember Wilson,
Second.
Discussion.
Councilmember Moss,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to confirm that we don't collect open air franchise fees for cafes anywhere else in the city. I should know that, but I don't.
Okay, Mr. Leahy?
Okay, yes, that's correct.
The attorney. Okay. Any further discussion?
Councilmember Moss, did you have any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Tower, did you have discussion or question?
I do. I just want to add my support for this motion. It's not a lot of money to the city, but some of the bills are fairly significant, and they've already missed a good part of the season by being forced to be closed. Even after they open, it'll be in a makeup. And this is an opportunity for folks to stay in business and continue to serve us and serve our city and produce tax revenue for the city. I hope everyone will support it. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson, did you have additional comments or question?
Yes, I do. But it's after this vote.
Any other discussion? Mayor, seeing no one else have their virtual hand raised.
Okay, could we call for the vote?
Yes. Councilmember Abbott,
Aye.
Councilmember Berlucci,
Aye.
Councilmember Henley,
Aye.
Councilmember Jones,
Aye.
Councilmember Moss,
Aye.
Councilmember Rouse,
Aye.
Councilmember Tower,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson,
Aye.
Councilmember Wooten,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wood,
Aye.
Mayor Dyer.
Aye.
By a vote of 11 to 0, you've approved the ordinance as read by Vice Mayor Wood.
Council Lady Wilson requested a comment.
I wanted to say, before we adjourn tonight, that I wanted to give a shout out to our mayor to be named out of all the mayors in this country. There's a lot of towns and cities that he was named the third best mayor in the country, and that's really quite something. I don't know who Newsmax is, but they recognize talent when they saw it. And after such a tough year, Bobby, that's a hats off to you, and it says a lot for you and for our city. So congratulations.
Let me say how humbled I am to be serving with such a great group of people for, since 2004. You certainly don't do this job, or we do things as a team, and I want to give special thanks to all the council members that I have served with, both current and present, but also to a wonderful staff that also recognize, I believe, us as the third best run city in the country. And, but just thank you. And I want to thank everybody for coming today, for this most important thing. This was special for a lot of reasons. And in terms of the comments made, I think we could all agree that going forward, we're going to have discussions on whatever we can do to, make the business environment better and, make things more practical for our citizens. So at this point, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.